Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Towers in New Haven, where we have a lot of beautiful people in the audience who've joined us for a very special evening honoring a very special person. This is not only an event where you're experiencing what we're doing, but actually the whole world will be able to see it on the net. And we have our hosts, and we have another guest host joining us. So Plastic, would you be so kind as to tell the audience online what's going on?
Charles Rosenay, he's hosting the show there. He's a great host as well. A man of the people, a man of the Beatles, a man of music, and a man of integrity. Thank you, Charles.
Oh, me? Oh, thank you. So we've got Plastic EP all the way from Melbourne, Australia. Chachi LaPret, who's a music aficionado, one of my dearest friends from Boston Radio, is with us. And now, with everyone's permission, I want to introduce the man of the hour, the reason we're all here, the original drummer, the original member of the Five Satins. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bobby Mapp. See you, my friend.
Thank you.
Please.
There he is, the great Bobby Mapp.
Thank you.
Drum roll, please. Drum roll.
Well, I just want to tell everybody before we start, obviously we're a lot of people from New Haven. I was born in the Bronx, but lived in New Haven most of my life. But I never met Bobby until I started doing events here at the Tower. And you were so nice because you came to the karaoke event and you were too modest. You didn't want to even say who you were, but everyone else said, hey, we have a celebrity here. We have Bobby Mapp of the Five Satins. And I had to come over and I had to say hello. And with your permission, because I know how humble you are, it took a lot for us to get you to do this event with us. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, Bobby. A pleasure and an honor to meet you. I mean, listen, In the Still of the Night, Charles, it's one of those evergreen tracks that will live forever. I think you've probably sold over 50 million copies of that song. It's been covered, by Paul Anka, the Beach Boys,
Boys to Men.
Boys to Men. It's one of those timeless tracks. And you were there, my friend, and it's an honor to have you here. I know you've met people during your tours like Little Richard and things like that, people like that. We'd love to hear about that, but such a history that you stand with, and we're such a pleasure and honor to have you here with us.
Thank you.
Can you tell us about that famous song we've just discussed, which is part of the soundtrack and the DNA of all our lives, In the Still of the Night, how that came about?
Well, actually, we didn't know anything about it really till Fred got together. And we wanted to do the song, and we needed some musicians.
So he's telling how he met Freddie Paris, who he was friends with.
But we all grew up together.
They grew up all together. Yeah.
Now, Bobby, you recorded that at church. Is that correct?
Yes, St. Bernadette's.
Does anyone know where that is? St. Bernadette's Church in where? Townsend Avenue in New Haven, right off the East Haven border, right? By Morris Cove, yes.
Yeah, in a cold basement.
In a cold basement.
It was winter time when we did it. They had the radiators back then, the steam radiators back then.
Now, are you honored when you hear it on the radio still in the year 2023?
Yes. Yes, still going strong.
It is amazing how that's a timeless song, right, Plastic?
Exactly. Also got to ask Bobby, it's Plastic EP from Melbourne, Australia. You've got fans all over the world. I'm really interested to find out, what did you think about the Beatles and Ringo Starr as their drummer when they hit the USA in 1964?
Yeah, they were all good. They were all great. We came up in that same era, you know, when they first came out and whatnot. Yeah, we're great. We're a great group.
To say that the Beatles they were really influenced by R&B and the African American artists back then, and they emulated what you guys did, and they did some covers of those fantastic songs.
They certainly did. There was a couple of other groups too that made this Still of the Night. That's got to be a real famous song.
CBS FM in New York, which was the #1 oldie station for years, would put out a top 100 oldies chart every year. And for about 40 years, in the Still of the Night was always #1. I worked a nightclub in New Haven, and we would always end with 2 songs. The first song was Frank Sinatra's New York, New York, because that was the indication that it was last call and the bartenders couldn't serve anymore. But for me, I had to end with New Haven's own In the Still of the Night every single night.
When did you actually quit work to go be a professional musician full time? That must have been a great day for you.
Yeah, well, actually, at that time, I didn't quit work. So so I was just doing both, you know, just working and then coming home, well, like New York, close areas, I'd be coming home that same day or same night after performance or whatnot, so. It was I put a lot of miles on back then.
Plastic and Chachi, we have another DJ who's actually here physically, so we're gonna bring him on in a few minutes.
Please do. So, Bobby, how
Yes.
many people were actually in the 5 Satins when you add it all up?
Quite a few.
Over 50?
Every time he showed up, it was a different guy, different group, different musicians. You know, it wasn't the same. In fact, till actually we did the recording. But we was quite a few.
Oh, no, is that the album cover? Let's see what Bobby looked like on that album cover. Is he there?
No, I'm not on that.
Oh, you're not on that one.
The band didn't get you know, photographed.
What?
Just a group.
Why?
Hey, can you put that up again? Don't get me wrong, right? I thought it was this Jackson 5. It's got the 5, all right.
So there's one. There's another original.
Yeah.
But
He's
in
a music legend. You're
but
a
in-
music legend, Bobby. And you know what it is? In
Yeah.
the Still of the Night, I've got to say, seriously, your group must have had so many female fans. I mean, there's a song written for women, isn't it?
He still does. Here's an old photo. Now, why is it, Bobby, that there was five Satins, but in all the videos that we see on YouTube, there's 4 guys?
Well, that's the way Fred arranged it, you know, half of the guys could make it, some of the guys couldn't make it, okay? So he kept the guys that could make the originals, you know, so that's there's a couple of pictures there. In here, remember I showed you them.
Yeah.
I know, but that's a great marketing ploy. Have 4 guys on and leave one out. I think that's amazing for that time.
Yeah, but they're saying, hey, where's the 5th Satin?
Yeah, well, he didn't show.
Well, that happened to the Beatles. Paul McCartney was usually late and he was in a bath for meetings. That's true too.
Yes.
Every time we went to record, there was always a new guy, even with the band, it was always new guys coming in, whatnot, you know, who to do
Well,
it, who to do it.
You know, Bobby, it's Fred wrote the song, Fred Paris.
Here's one of Fred Paris with
Yeah.
Bobby. And who's the third guy?
That's just Vinny,
Vinny.
Mr. Saxophone player.
Vinny was the saxophone player. See,
He was a
people
good saxophone player.
think of the band as a vocal group, but that's fine if you're in a studio. But when you're out playing gigs, which is what they did endlessly, they had an official 5 Satins band.
Bobby, let me ask you about Fred, because I just find it it's a terrible thing where he writes this amazing song, but he goes off to be in the service, right? He goes to Japan. And
Correct.
so he's unable to, celebrate his success with the band. did he have the songwriting credits to that? Did he live with those songwriting credits for the rest of his life? Did someone, back then people would steal songwriting credits, those managers and so on, but was that not a problem for you guys?
Well, there was an issue when Fred went back, into the service. There was a fellow in the group, his name was Bill Baker. And he sang the song also. Okay, so there's a little, disturbance over that. So when Fred came home, actually, they ended up going to court. To find out who's gonna get what, the royalties or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Fred came out the winner.
Yeah, there was a while there where there was Fred Paris and they were the Five Satins, and then Bill Baker had Bill Baker's Satins, and they were both touring simultaneously. But of course, it was Fred Paris who wrote the song and is the originator. And we're gonna, in a few minutes, get his wife on the phone. So we're gonna say hello to Freddie Paris's wife in a few seconds.
And unfortunately, Fred passed away just last year, right, Bobby?
Yes,
Wow,
correct.
that's terrible.
And then we get back with Bill Baker, he passed away also. Okay, so when Fred came, out of the service, and then he came, the group came back together again.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can reach on the phone Freddie Paris's wife and hopefully hear her.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, Emma, how are you?
Charles, how are you?
I'm doing great. You are live on a stream with Plastic EP from Australia and about 400 people in the audience.
Wow.
Everyone say hello to Emma. And
Oh, wow.
You're all enjoying yourselves and the company of Charles Rosenay and his assistant.
Emma, somebody asked about Fred and writing the song, and if there's still like royalties, and if he's still, recognized as the person who wrote it, if he got all the credit he deserved.
Yes, Fred is recognized as the original group founder and composer, the original composer, singer of In the Still of the Night. I'm happy to say that.
Yay.
Pleasure. And I know if Fred were here to tell you himself, he would say, because these were his words, he is honored and humbled that his music meant so much to the fans all over the world. And I thank the fans and the people that are with you now because of their kindness and their words of comfort as I struggle through this year. So thank you all very much.
Wow, thank you. That's beautiful, right? It must be so difficult for you to come on and talk about someone who was so dear to you and to so many people. And Bobby sharing some memories with us. Did you guys get to meet Emma and Bobby? Yes?
Yes, I want to say hello, Bobby. And I know when Fred and I were out shopping at the supermarket one day in Westville, much to his surprise, who popped up but Bobby Mack. And Bobby, Fred was so happy to see you because he wasn't really sure how to get in touch with you. And he spoke of Bobby often as being a wonderful drummer. And Bobby did perform on the original song In the Still of the Night. I believe he performed on that song.
Wow.
I was there.
Yes,
You,
I was happy to have Bobby share his drumming talents.
Bobby, do you remember when you guys met in
Yeah,
the?
I
Talk to the
remember,
mic, talk to the mic.
I remember, but very well.
Yes, well, it's good to hear your voice, Bobby.
Thank you.
And I hope that you continue to be well and strong and you're among good friends, especially with this being led by Charles Rose.
One for Charles.
Thank you, Emma. I'll pay you for that one as well. Well, we love you and we love Fred, and thank you so much for for letting me call in for the show.
I appreciate it as well, and I'm sorry that I can't see everyone, but I have to say, Emma is kind of not too techy anymore. Having retired, a few years back, I can't keep up with it. But I want you to know, I see your beautiful smile right in the phone. Great evening.
God bless you. Thank you so much.
Hey, talk to you soon, Emma.
Okay, Bobby, take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
See you now. So long, everyone.
Bye-bye. That was so special.
That was great. That was great. You know what's interesting, Bobby? I mean, the song came out in 1956, right?
Correct.
I was born in 57, and here we are all these years later, still celebrating that song.
Yeah,
So good for you. And it's such a
you.
historic track.
yeah. Thank you very much.
It's a testament to the greatness of that era musically and the song and everyone who contributed to it.
Now, Bobby, why did you spell, why do we spell night the short way instead of the NIGHT?
NITE,
Yeah.
Yes.
NITE.
Yeah. Why was it spelled that way?
I don't know, you got me on that one.
It was spelled both
Wait a
ways.
minute, wait a
It's
minute.
been spelled both ways.
Yeah.
It was?
Okay.
Yeah, because they spelled it NIGHT.
On the original pressing, it was NIGHT, and then many of the re-releases were NITE.
Mhm.
I think it was just a matter of the different labels that put it out and just their spelling of it. I don't think there was a real reason.
Yeah. And you mentioned different labels. I'd imagine that you would look at some albums or CDs like greatest hits of the 50s, and you'd see it there, and you say, oh, look at my song is there. Because it's
Was the original label Ember? Is
Yeah.
that right?
The original label on that was Ember. On the
Ember.
45. Yeah, in fact, I have the original 45 as we speak.
Wow.
oh, you do. Wow.
Yes.
Well, good for you. And you have kids, grandchildren. Do they know how famous their, father or grandfather, uncle is here?
Well, a couple of them don't.
They never know. They don't care.
Bobby, I got to ask you what drum kit you played on the actual song.
Oh, boy. Let's see, I had so many. I think that was the Ludwig I had.
Like
You
the
had-
Beatles. There you go. And do you know what the outfit was? Can you just tell me what color the drum kit was and what sticks you used, if you remember?
Well, I know it was a big 26-inch bass drum.
Wow. That's
Big,
big.
got that boom, 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 boom.
That's a big bass drum.
And a snare drum and a cymbal. Who knows, we were gonna go anyplace, because it was in the basement of a church, this is not gonna go no place, no. But I wish I still had that set, bring back memories.
Sure.
Yeah.
would.
How many sets did you have back then when you recorded the song? How many kits did you have at home? 5, 6?
Maybe a dozen.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a real drummer.
yeah.
Who
And
else have you played with through the years that we might have heard of?
Well, listen, let's see, well, a lot of groups, jazz groups I play with.
You play with Little Richard?
No. Not that Little Richard, but I play with another couple of stuff with Rick.
But I was thinking if you were on the same bill with anybody of note, like a Little Richard or something.
No, well, Patti LaBelle did things like that. I was in the show band in New York at the Apollo.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
Now you must have felt fantastic to play the Apollo Theater.
Oh, yeah, back in the day. Yeah, back then.
Yeah.
Walt Chamberlain, the basketball player.
Will Chamberlain?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Will
yeah.
Chamberlain.
Yeah. So then I switched to jazz. Then I went to, playing with jazz.
Mm-hmm.
And now, retirement. Now I'm hanging out the towers.
Good for you. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking? Because you look great.
33. And a third.
I just turned 85.
Wow.
Wow. I'm sorry, Bobby. You look fantastic. Let me tell you.
Thank you very much.
God bless you. That's great.
It's because the towers take such good care of their people. That's why. That's your plug. Right?
Got a lot of road miles. A lot of road miles.
Bobby, I want to take a break from myself. You guys, of course, stay on the air. I want to bring on a friend of mine who's a local air personality who's been DJing, gosh, as long as I've been in Connecticut, as long as I can remember, oldies expert, a doo-wop genius, and a 50s just brain. I want to bring out Rockin' Richie, Richard Phillips. Come take my place.
Wow, what a pleasure to sit here with the original drummer of the Five Satins. Yeah, so it's great to be here with you, Bobby, you know?
Got to meet you anyhow. I hear you every Tuesday.
Was that,
I hear you every Tuesday.
you listen to the show?
Yeah, it comes on at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock till 9, that's right.
Right. Oh, that's-
Bobby, I'm gonna use you as a promoter, all right? You promote the show, which is really fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's a pleasure for me to meet, you know, a member of the band, because I think I've met all of the Satins through the years. I think Vinnie Mazzetta on the sax was the only other one who was on the show one time.
Mhm.
And you're always welcome to come on the program, by the way.
Okay. All righty. Well, you're right there in, what's Haven?
Right there in West Haven, you know,
University, right?
right at the university. And for some of the folks here, if you'd like to tune in locally, we're on the air at 88.7 FM. That's every Tuesday night. And we feature all the oldies from the 50s and the 60s, the group harmony sounds, a little bit of rock and roll, instrumentals, all kinds of things. And for our friends in Australia, you're welcome to tune in. You won't get the signal on the FM, but you certainly can tune us in at WNHU.org, WNHU.org. And we'll be happy to have our Australian friends. And I love the Australian people because they love barbecue, Tom, you know, so it's one of the big things, which I do. So Bobby, now I understand, I was talking to you a little bit earlier. You do play the drums right here locally.
Yeah, well, once in a while, we have like jam sessions, over at Cafe 9 on the corner of Station around.
Yeah.
And every Saturday, people get together, who play an instrument or sing. And then we get together for about 4 or 5 hours and reminisce.
I'm gonna be in touch with you, Bobby, and I'm gonna find out when your next day down there, and I'm gonna definitely stop down and enjoy, you know. And by the way, for the folks that like In the Still of the Night, believe me, if you do a little investigation, I don't know how many records the Five Satins made throughout their career, probably over 100, you know. Through different, the groups changed names, sometimes they went to different groups and everything, but Bobby, you're part of the scene. I'm just happy to be here with you, and it's great to know you and to shake your hand, brother.
Thank
Best of
you.
luck to you.
Thank you very much. I just have to listen to you, last night, and I'm here.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you, Richard Phillips, Rockin' Richie. Rockin' Richard here. Tonight as a special guest to pay tribute to Bobby Mapp, who's live and in person, and this is such a special treat. We've got Plastic EP from Melbourne, Australia, our main host, Chachi LaBrette, the man in Boston. Chachi, I understand you have more questions for Bobby.
I always have questions for Bobby. Any strange happenings when you're on the road? Did you encounter any kind of racism? You weren't allowed to perform at certain venues. I mean, that was a tough time to do live performances, I would guess. So what was life like for you then?
No, I didn't have that. I didn't, run into anything like that.
Well, great. That's fantastic.
Everything was easy, going in, do what we had to do. And that would, get paid and leave.
And when you were a kid, did you always want to be a musician?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
Really?
My whole family is musical.
Really?
Yeah.
So your mom and pop and
Yes. Father was a saxophone player. Used to play with Chick Webb back in the day.
Whoa.
wow.
Remember that
So-
back in the day? Remember Chick Webb?
Yes.
Dick Webb. Now, did your father want you to play sax, or was he, if you wanted, you play whatever instrument you want, Bobby?
Well, I got with my mom's pots and pans. So that's how that happened. And my sister is a music teacher in Maryland.
Wow.
She's retired now.
And so when you were a young kid in your teens, what were your favorite bands? What kind of music did you like?
Well, back then I was like Jazz and the Philharmonics, you remember those?
Mm-mm.
Yep, okay, well, that's when the LPs were out. And, you know, the long,
78.
no, that's the long playing records, the.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I used to, with the old record player Victrolas, you know, and I used to practice, that's how I practiced in the living room.
And were your parents impressed when you had this huge hit?
Oh, yeah, very well, everybody was. Oh,
So
yeah.
you were the success of the family. You broke open, and all over the world that song was listened to.
Yeah, just about, yeah.
James Brown, if you can tell me what you thought of Papa's Got a New Bag, and did you ever meet him?
Yeah, I used to play it. Yeah, I used to.
Really?
I never, but I used to play it. Yeah,
Did you share the same bill at the Apollo?
yeah, well, he was a good performer, you know, he's strict guy to work for, he was really strict. Yeah.
Really?
You have to know what you're doing when he was playing with James Brown. Yeah, he didn't take any nonsense and whatnot, you know. James Brown was James Brown, that was his show. So,
And he
That's
could
right.
dance, that's for sure.
yeah.
Hey, that's pre-Michael Jackson, you know?
There was something that Chachi touched on. Here you are, you're a kid. You've got the biggest song in the world, which you recorded in a basement in New Haven. Now, are you in a church, right? Are you walking down the streets and people are asking you for your autograph? Are you a celebrity or are you just one of the guys in the neighborhood? What's it like that?
No, I did all the autographs, well, I can show you the pictures of the autographs.
Yeah.
Here and whatnot. But, you know, everybody knows me. Playing.
You're just humble. You're just being
I
modest.
know I play the drums.
Yeah.
He's a drummer and they know me from all the clubs. They get me in the clubs.
Yeah.
So,
Bobby, when you tell us about the first time you heard that song on the radio, you must have flipped out.
oh, yo, big time, big time. Yeah, well, geez, you're on the radio. You're on the big, you know, you're a big celebrity, you know.
Yeah.
We all worked in. Which one was that?
Just a great group shot. Could we throw out some questions to the audience? Because these people know you, they see you all the time, but they probably have never asked you about your career. So we're gonna throw some questions out to the crowd, your colleagues, your peers, your fellow residents. Who has a question for Bobby? Yes, sir.
Aren't there two versions of In the Still of the Night?
Were there two versions of In the Still of the Night?
Oh, so that was only one, right?
Is it the slow version?
It was just one.
Just the slow one was the original, but it was re-recorded many times.
Yeah,
But the original, there's only one version.
Dual.
That was a considered doo-wop, yes. We have a Boston guy in the audience,
Where you from?
Chachi.
Great.
what part of Boston you from?
Rochester.
Rochester.
Dorchester.
Dorchester.
Dorchester. How do you say it right? Dorchester.
Dorchester. Dorchester.
I go to Cranston quite a bit.
Cranston, Rhode Island?
Yeah, I think there's one that, isn't there? Yeah, well, I used to play in Rhode Island. I used to be right on the beach.
Ah,
Today. Oh, I've been so many places and seen so many people that are here and some, I tell you the truth, half of the folks I played with are not gone. They were all gone.
now you played all over the world, right?
Well, not all over the world, no, just around, you know, around the States. Yeah.
Sure, the States.
But all the guys I played with, the Richards, they're all gone. You know, I hate to say it, but
Yeah, you're the last.
yeah.
And look at you, you look great.
Yeah, well, there's one of the five Satins that's still alive, Richie Freeman.
Okay.
Yeah, he owns a jazz nightclub in New York.
Wow.
I forgot the name of the club.
Iridium.
Iridium.
Iridium, yeah, that's it. Yeah, the Iridium.
Wow, that's a famous place.
Yeah. Well, he manages that.
So he wanted to call in and be part of this, and he got the Zoom link, but he had to go to the club and do it and be part of it tonight, so he couldn't be here. But he sends his best wishes, and you know, he thanks you for keeping the spirit alive.
When the hit went out there to the world and became a hit, did you go out and buy yourself a very nice car at that time? And if you did, what car was it?
Yeah, a Bentley.
Really?
Wow. You bought a Bentley?
No, I'm only kidding. No, regular cars, you know, back then the Cadillac, you know, Lincoln, big cars.
Sure, sure. Now,
Yeah.
did they have the Dick Clarks of the world back then? Did you
Oh,
go on
yeah.
any of those shows?
No, no, I never went on those shows. I used to watch them though.
Ed Sullivan, nothing like that?
No, no.
Wasn't that a case of they would just bring on the vocalists and they would lip sync? So there would really be no need for the actual touring band and the
Sure.
recording band to be there.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Man, what a history you have, Bobby. Congratulations.
Yeah, yeah, I've been there.
We have more
You've been
questions.
there.
Yes? Steve, yes, sir.
Did you meet Aretha Franklin and other?
Did you
people
meet
like that?
Aretha Franklin, any of the Motown folks?
Yeah, I met Aretha, you know, when we're doing shows and whatnot, they were there or just performing on the same card, you know.
The Supremes,
No, no, I haven't met them, no.
the Beatles?
The Supremes, the Beatles, any of the sixties artists? Or more of the fifties?
It's more than fifties.
Yeah.
Because then like I told you, then I would, after that, the doo-wop thing, I went to show bands and playing, you know, jazz and whatnot.
So you weren't really part of that rock and roll scene. You were
No,
jazz.
Yeah, I left the doo-wop.
Right, sure.
Yeah, I left that.
But I want to know when you started your shoe collection.
Oh,
Wait. I have to repeat the question for our viewers.
but just.
This pretty gal doesn't care about his drumming, doesn't want to know what drumsticks collection he has. She asked when you started your shoe collection.
Dress man.
Yes, I do what everybody else does too, different shirts and the way I dress and whatnot.
But it's your shoes.
Yeah. Well, see, they still think I'm on Showtime, you know, especially when you're on stage, you know, you have to be in a uniform and whatnot, you know, with the sharp shoes and the suits and whatnot, you know. So I'm a casual dresser, I'll put it that way.
This is your casual.
Casual,
Still awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
so cool, right? Yes, thank you so much for the shoe question, because this is a really big shoe.
He has a lot of soul.
And
Yeah.
oh,
What did you think of the music coming out of Muscle Shoals? And did you ever get invited down there to record?
he asked if you ever got invited to record at Muscle Shoals Studios or any of the other studios outside of New Haven.
No.
You're
What
reading.
did you think of, what did
You
you think of the music coming out from there though?
What kind of music was that?
It was good music.
Yeah, I know it was good music, but what kind of good music?
They had Steve Cropper on guitar and they were putting out hits.
Mostly rock and blues and
Oh, the blues, oh, I'm into the blues. Yeah, I play, you know, a few blues groups that are around and whatnot. Oh, yeah, I like that. I like doing the blues.
Booker T and the MGs. Booker T and the MGs.
Oh, Booker T, and well, that style. Oh, yeah. Well, there's a lot of great blues, you know, groups still around, blues bands. There's a lot of them still around that are playing.
yeah, we have a question right in the front.
What were some of the groups you played with in jazz? When you played jazz?
Yes.
What were some of the jazz groups that you played
I
with?
played with Jimmy McGriff. Johnny Hammond Smith. These were all Hammond organ players. Houston Person.
He knows all the ones you're mentioning.
Yeah, because.
He knows his stuff.
Yeah. Well, see, it's a Boston area.
Yeah.
In that era I was playing. Right. So those are the jazz greats that I was playing with back then.
Now, Bobby, we just lost Tony Bennett. Were you a fan of Tony?
Oh, yeah, it's big time. Yeah, he's original. Every hit he made was a hit, you know? Oh, yeah, big time.
He's a great man.
He was, yeah.
Yep. I've known Tony since 1986.
Wow.
Dear friend.
Oh,
I was the first guy to play Tony Bennett on a rock radio station in 1986.
Mhm.
I'm in 2 of his books. The way he talks about that. Went to the Super Bowl with him when he sang, went to the White House with him, went to London with him.
wow.
So he was a great man and a great singer. So we just lost him, and I thought I would get your recollections, your remembrances of Tony Bennett.
I remember his name would be Tony Benedetto. Then
That's
they-
right.
Yeah, then they changed it. I think it was Bill Crosby, one of the,
Bob Hope.
oh, okay. Changed his name to.
He Americanized Benedetto to Bennett.
It was too long for the labels and whatnot. they said.
And then Pearl Bailey hired him.
Right.
And it's not Mappino or anything like that, right? No, I'm just making sure.
Rocky Mountain.
Be close.
I have a technical drumming question.
Oh, we have a technical drumming question.
What style and what style was the most difficult to fit in with? And who was the most, I don't know, artist that you played with where was the toughest to kind of jive with the rest of the band? Odd time signatures, different feel, like what was on a technical level, was there, and you're pretty versatile. So what were some of the more challenging gigs?
No, we didn't have any problems with whatnot. We would listen to you first, see what you can do. If you can cut it, you're fine. If you can't, go home and learn it and then come back. So that's probably how we worked that.
So your versatility, because you play with so many different people and different styles, and even within jazz, there's so many different subgenres of jazz, right?
Right.
So you had being able to adapt to all that, you were kind of this a person who would be in demand, much like the studio musician,
Mhm.
right? Who was able to fit and plug into different spots.
Right.
Guys like that are very valuable.
Right.
So I would imagine you had no shortage of work back in the day.
Okay, well, I have no problem with that.
That's what I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. You should do anything.
I can
You
do it all.
anything.
Waltz, whatever you want to play, just put it out there, play it.
Put it down.
We rehearse it, go over it
Love
and
it.
whatnot, and then we go for it.
Love it.
So we have someone in the audience who's actually covering the event for the media. And she might be the youngest person in the room.
She is.
So would you have a question for Bobby, or is there something that is like foreign to you from this whole conversation?
Yeah, but I would love to ask a question.
She would love to ask a question.
What is the memory, you have a memory of when you realized that this song was going to be a really big hit? What was that moment like for you?
Was there that one moment where you realized this song is a big hit, right? And what was that like for you?
Well, after we heard it about 100 times.
It was played on the radio nonstop, yes?
Yeah, well, before it was on the radio.
Oh, your own hearing
Yeah,
it, yeah.
we were hearing it before. We never knew it was gonna, because we did about 24 songs. We did a lot of songs, and that was one of out of the 24, that was the best song out of the 24 songs.
Wow.
Yeah, it's on the 45 code that I have here, all the
Yeah.
songs that we did.
Yes, on the CD. Do you remember the first time you heard it on the radio?
Oh, well, that's just, no, that can't be us. That's not us. What it was, but then afterwards, it changed, we changed, well, it was great for me, because I was all up then,
Yeah.
big rock star. Whatnot. But then actually it all changed. Well, then we left, everybody left, and they went different ways,
Yeah.
But you can see how many, like there's supposed to be 5 satins, there only was 4. You think, everybody just dropped out.
Yeah.
But it was a good thing. It was a big thing.
How long did you stay with Fred Paris? How long were you a Satin for?
I was with Fred until 70s.
Till the 70s?
Yeah, the 80s, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we all wandered off. Then the whole group changed. Actually, mostly all the singers changed.
Yeah.
After that,
And I think he stopped for a while
Yeah.
and then started again.
But there's a lot of guys on here that.
Here's a later album with
They're not all originals on here.
Temptations looking guys. Yeah.
Every album is different. It's a different person on, every album that you see, just like with the pictures here.
Yeah.
They're all different.
Did you have a follow-up, Eleanor?
Yeah, what do you think was so influential at the song that made it the big hit that it was?
That's a great question. Why was that song so special? What was about it that made it?
Well, I guess it was the words, Fred wrote it.
Yeah.
Fred did it, and I guess the words, how it was presented and whatnot, and they just took off from there,
Here are the words, guys.
right there.
Can we see that? Yeah.
Yes, we can.
You can see that on the big screen?
In the still of the night.
And,
Those are all the words.
and we're gonna play the song, of course. You know we're gonna play it, but in the still of the night,
And then the other side-
I held you tight, cause I love you so. Promise I'll never let you go in the still of the night. It's just simplistic brilliance. Yeah,
On the other, Rocket Richard, on the other side of that was he wrote another song too, Our Anniversary.
What was the B-side?
Joan.
Oh, yeah, that was on there, but.
cause there were a bunch of B-sides to that. But it wouldn't be on there.
No, the anniversary. something.
The anniversary song was a flip side.
Yeah,
Happy anniversary.
Happy Anniversary. Have you heard that one? Yeah,
Oh, sure enough.
that's another one that's on. Come on.
Happy anniversary. Our anniversary is here, darling. Yes, you know. Love has grown so dear since that year ago. Glad you're still here because I love you so. Oh.
That's awesome.
It's perfect. And it ends with truly to say happy anniversary. Ooh ah is doo-wop. So it's got to have the ooh ahs.
See, there was another version of the still of the night. In the still of the night, as I gaze from my window at the moon and its flight.
There were
I think
songs with.
that was pre 5 Sands, and I think that might have been the reason someone just mentioned another version of the song, and he gave some lyrics which were completely different, and I think that's why we might have seen NITE, because that original, which predated 56, was probably spelled NIGHT. I think so. I think I might be wrong, but that's my guess on that.
Another thing that, I was gonna say, another thing is it actually had it was called I'll Remember.
I'll remember.
Yeah, sometimes they took it out that way.
Oh, I'll remember in parentheses in the still of the night. Yes.
To differentiate.
And that was done to differentiate from that other song, and you are absolutely correct. There was another
There's an
version.
earlier song with that same title.
Yeah.
That's what you're thinking of.
Bobby, was To the Isle probably the second biggest hit of the 5 Sands?
I don't think so.
No, because it's the one us DJs play at weddings.
The Jones Girl started, but that didn't, you heard the Jones Girl, right, on the other side of the Still of the night? But that didn't get too much play.
Well, I know one thing, it got a lot of airplay down at Jimmy's at 7 Rock on the
Oh,
jukebox.
yeah. Oh,
On
yeah.
Jimmy's
Yeah, the
Jukebox at 7 Rock. We're talking a lot of local history here.
That's where.
The people here are New Haven people. Oh my gosh, so most of you are. And do you remember when the song came out and knowing that it was a New Haven artist? Yeah, some of you, see? So some people probably just figured this is like Earth Angel, or this is any of the great acts from around the world, not even knowing that you were a local hero to them.
Earth Angel was a good hit. Too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Penguins, right? Thank you.
Yeah.
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 Yes. The 5 Sands played at her Sweet 16 party. Where was it? Oak Lane Country Club on Woodbridge on Route 34.
Yeah.
What year? No, I can't ask you what year it was. 64. Were you part of the band then? No.
I don't, did they have a band? Did they have a band then or?
Jerry Greenberg had a band called The Passengers.
Oh, Jerry Greenberg,
So there was a house band, Jerry Greenberg's band, and they were playing the event, but he arranged for the 5 Sands to come up and sing one song. So you definitely would have been drumming.
No, I wasn't there.
Wow, that's a great memory. Thank you for sharing that with us. Yes,
Yes, I just wanted to mention one thing. When you used to play at
used to play at Dinkies.
Yeah.
Where was that?
that is on Gulf Street Park.
Gough Street?
In fact, I have a picture in my album now of me on the stage with the tambourine.
Someone in the audience played tambourine on stage with these guys.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
who was the band then? Okay,
It was,
okay, was it an organ
I
player?
have a picture of it. I have to show it.
Okay, all right, yeah, I like to see that.
Yeah, that goes back, and I'm 81 now.
Thank you for sharing that memory. That's special.
But what's in that era?
Yes, sir.
That church where you recorded or sang the song.
St. Bernadette's, yeah.
St. Bernadette's Church is close to East Haven. Just wonder if you met the Carpenters from
The
East.
Carpenters were also from East Haven.
Right.
St. Bernadette's where it recorded was very near East Haven. Was there ever a meeting or a connection?
No, never, no connection then.
No.
No.
Thanks. You would think, yeah, you would think
Yeah.
that artists from the same area might know each other, but so many different
Well,
years
probably-
apart.
You know, probably Fred does.
Fred Paris might have.
Fred probably, yeah, because he knows, he knew all the groups and whatnot.
Yes, sir.
Who were the drummers that you admired?
Oh, who were the drummers you admired and who influenced you?
Well, the person who influenced me, his name was Roy Haynes. He's a famous jazz drummer. Famous, played it everywhere, all over the world. And in fact, he's from Boston. What's his name from Massachusetts?
From Dorchester. No, Chachi, do you know who he's talking about?
I do not, but I grew up in Boston and live in Boston all my life. Yeah, but I do.
Roy was a big time jazz drummer.
Ah,
He's 97 now as we speak.
Wow. Get him on the air, guys. Get him on the interview.
He lives in Hamptons.
lives in the Hamptons.
Yeah. So he played everybody. He's been all over the world.
Wow. Well, that's great. That's great.
And
God
any
bless.
other influences, Krupa, any of those?
Nah,
people?
Cooper was,
So you weren't into big band.
yeah, well, like Buddy Rich, they were all good drummers and whatnot. But
Yeah.
they're like, to me, they're all like rudimental drummers, big band things, Louis Belson I met.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nelson,
Philip Bailey's husband,
yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Buddy Rich, greatest of all time.
Yeah,
He doesn't think
don't give me
so.
that.
He doesn't think so.
Come on, man.
he's all right.
He's all right. Buddy Rich, he's all right.
Most big band drummers, yeah, Well, everything with those guys are all drums. You never heard the horn section, you didn't hear nothing, all you hear was the drums, right?
Right.
I've heard other drummers critique Ringo Starr.
Yeah.
Tell me, what do you think of Ringo?
What do you think of Ringo as a drummer?
Good drum.
He's actually underrated.
Good drum.
Think he'll make it?
Think he'll make
I
it?
think he did.
Now, listen, with the 50s, of course, you associate it with music, cars, and diners. I want to know, Bobby, when it became a hit, did you have a favorite diner or somewhere where they had a jukebox and your song was playing there all the time and you just happened to walk in and there's the song?
A diner or a
All the
place?
time.
Yeah.
And what sort of food did you eat back then?
What food did you eat back then?
Same stuff we have now. Hamburgers and hot dogs.
Yeah, that's it.
Do they have those in Australia too?
Yeah, but did they also give you car service? Like I'm thinking American Graffiti, that you rock up in your new car, whatever, and the girls come and serve you and know that, hey, you're on the song in the still of the night. Was it like that? Or did you go to little jukebox places?
Just say yes.
Yes.
We have another question.
Did you go to Jimmy's in West Haven?
Do you remember Jimmy's in West Haven?
I lived in there.
Yeah.
That was the spot.
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah.
Turks, Jimmy's,
Turks, right? Yeah.
Salmon Rock was Salmon Rock back then.
Yeah.
There was one more, right? Turks, Jimmy's, and one more?
Phyllis's.
Phyllis's,
Yeah.
right, yeah. Yeah.
The amusement center,
There was a whole amusement park then, right?
had the rides, musical rides, and that was the place to go.
Did they ever have bands there? Did you guys play?
There was a couple of hotels there.
Oh, wow.
There's a few hotels.
Oh,
Just like
nice.
here in New Haven, there was a couple of hotels.
Just, yeah. Did you ever meet John Lee Hooker and B.B. King?
John Lee Hooker or B.B. King?
B.B. King. Yeah, back in the day, B.B.
Wow.
King. Yeah.
Did you play with them?
No,
Okay.
no, just, things placed together, we just hung out together.
You will be our final question of the evening.
I also want to add about the song, they also had a couple songs in their movie.
In the Still of the Night.
I think it was The Irishman and I forgot.
It's been in so many movies. Dirty Dancing,
Dirty Dancing.
mainly.
Right.
I think it was in
Yeah, it
American
was.
Graffiti. I might be wrong,
It was.
but there's, yes.
And they also did a great version of I'll Be Seeing You. So if anybody gets on, that was a great song.
Yes, and it's actually on the Bill Baker album. I don't know if it's a Freddie Paris. I'll Be Seeing You.
I used it as my closing song.
Yeah, he uses.
I'll Be Seeing You.
Yeah, he uses that.
Oh, he uses that one.
That's the
Oh,
one,
okay.
That's the one, yeah.
I'll Be Seeing You in all those old familiar places, which was made popular again, believe it or not, in the Marvel Avengers movie. And it was very, very impactful. I know that because I have little kids, so I knew that. Otherwise, I would not have known. Chachi or Plastic EP, do you have any closings for us?
Well, I just wanted to get your opinion back then, what you thought of this young upstart called Elvis Presley. A white
Yeah,
man
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
sound like a black singer.
You hear this
And-
guy?
We call him the Prez. Back then, we called him the Prez back
The
then. Elvis Presley.
Elvis Presley, the Prez.
Prez. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Blue suede shoes and. See, that's where, what's the shoe lady? That's where I got her shoes from. Yeah.
Of all the female artists, right, I'm saying in the 50s, who did you really look up to? Or who did you think she's fantastic? She's got it.
Female singers, who was your favorite?
Well, Aretha Franklin, of course. Patti LaBelle, singer showgirl, so many of them.
Etta James or?
Yeah, Eddie
Yeah.
James, yeah.
Were you a fan of country back then, like Patsy Cline?
Not too much. No, I wasn't too much into country, no.
Hmm.
But I heard, I heard the name. I know the name.
Yeah, I mean, country's so huge nowadays.
Oh, yeah,
You know?
exactly. Yeah.
Did you ever meet Mama Thornton?
No, no. I know the name though.
Big Mama Thornton.
They're gonna laugh.
Could we flip the screen so that Plastic and Chachi can see all the nice people who joined us tonight? Could we
Oh,
flip
that'd
it?
be nice. Plastic,
Yeah.
that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and you
course.
can- folks, you're gonna wave to our friend in Australia and to
Wow, look at this.
to Chachi in Boston. And you're
at
gonna
this.
give yourself
Full
a
house.
nice round of applause for being part of this wonderful event.
Wow, Charles, you have a great turnout.
We want to say thank you to the Towers for not only hosting this event, but for making sure that everyone has a great life here, including Mr. Bobby Mapp, the original Five Satins drummer. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
We're gonna play the song. Thank you for being on all the way from Boston and from Australia. Listen to Bobby Knopf.
Thank you, Bobby. A pleasure and an honor to meet you. God bless you.
Thank you,
Same here. God bless you. And we salute you, Bobby.
thank you.